Kala Capital is an up-and-coming Honolulu-based registered investment advisory firm dedicated to helping small businesses and entrepreneurially minded individuals go from new money rich to new money wealthy by teaching financial literacy and money management skills foundational to long-term success. At Kala Capital, our intent is to provide the tools, resources, and team necessary to inspire and empower others to tap into their unique abilities to build and generate long-term wealth. We aim to educate, guide, inspire, and coach our tribe of new money millionaires in their pursuit of financial freedom. I'm here with Dan, who is a successful entrepreneur and a dear client of mine, and he's here to share his experience on working with me, the good, bad, and hopefully not ugly, but we'll say you can share anything that you would like to. So with that being said, Dan, would you just give the listeners or the audience a little bit of background on who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. I've started several companies. Currently on my third venture that I started in 2019. It's a mortgage brokerage company that specializes in financing the acquisition and refinance of investment properties for the use of short-term rentals. And I started that in 2019 after selling a company in 2018. And, it was through COVID, a slow growth, but then right out of it, we had a big year in 2021. The idea really took off, and as a result, my finances had taken off. And I've, classic entrepreneurial, pedigree. I'm good at building the businesses, but when it comes to the admin stuff, I am terrible, at anything regards to admin work, taxes, finances, anything like that, notoriously. So I really just needed someone to solve that problem for me. And that's how we got introduced through a mutual friend that said I should speak to you. And so that's kind of who I am and how we got started.
Yeah, perfect. That kind of leads right into the next question, was like, what was, if you can think back, because I know it's been about a year now, can you think back to some of the specific pain points or concerns or worries that really inspired you to just book that initial consultation or discovery call with
me? Well, of course, it was, partially due to the, warm recommendation of a friend. You came with glowing reviews as someone that's trustworthy, which is very important to me. I think you just, spoke my language, but also what I had heard about you, what you were offering, and really what I needed was to have someone that was being the quarterback for my finances, putting together the team and handling all the logistics in regards to that area of my life. I just didn't, I don't have the time. I know to stay in my lane. I'm not the person that's going to handle it the best. So I needed to find someone that I knew had the competency, and someone that I could trust most of all, to understand my situation and what I was trying to accomplish with my finances and managing that, and just really taking that off the plate so I could do more of what I'm good at, which is running the business and making the money. And then you can make sure I'm doing the right things with it.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, the way I think about my role in all my clients' lives, and yours included, is that quarterback, helping bring together all the different components and pieces of your financial plan and your long-term thinking when it comes to your money, into something that's actionable, that you can actually take action against and start implementing into your life without having the worry and the stress and the mental bandwidth that it actually consumes, and allowing you to be the best entrepreneur you can be, make it rain, make the money, but make sure that money gets pushed through a process that actually allows you to keep it over the long run. So I think you described kind of the ideal client for us perfectly, because you are it. Can you, I guess, articulate why you decided to work with me over the countless other financial advisors out there that could potentially help you also do this as well?
Yeah, I think the few things that got me to make that decision was, on our initial call, it's just a feeling. I got the the feeling that you actually cared to understand the situation rather than, just trying to sell your service. And then I was going to get also sort of lost in the mix of, these other wealth managers' current systems and, their clientele. It felt like this was more of a, I guess, holistic approach that was built for people like me. It was hard to find anybody else that was a real fit for me and what I needed. So I think those two reasons was just, I got the feeling that I could trust you, and the systems and the things that you were supposed to put in place in terms of taking everything off my plate. I could feel the weight of being lifted off my shoulders already with the idea of it, and now working together, that has proven to be true. So those were the two reasons why I eventually chose to work with you.
Perfect. So when you think back now to like the last, because it's been about 10 months since we actually started doing the work together, what has been the, maybe specifically just one thing that has been the most beneficial or the most valuable to you specifically, knowing that it's different for all my clients, but for you specifically, what was the one thing that you're like, wow, this was super helpful, and like this alone made it worth it?
Yeah, I'd say it's the accountability factor. When we first started working together, I mentioned to you, bug me as much as you want. Never feel like you're intruding too much, because it's likely I've just forgot, or I've wrapped up in a million other things that I need someone to be that accountability partner to say, here's what we were supposed to do, here's what you're supposed to do, what information I need from you. Hey, don't forget we have this meeting, and to keep me on track when it comes to this. Because once again, I just was never been good at that, and I needed that accountability factor to make sure that this would remain, a focus and a forefront and a focus, a focus to work on and to deal with and to manage, rather than to always play catch up. And next thing you know, it's tax season and I'm scrambling to figure it out and put the pieces together then. So it's really accountability for me.
Yeah, I always loved how you were like, Ethan, you can bug me as much as you want because I know this stuff is important, but I also just know that like life takes over and my business takes over and my social life takes over, and I'll put this stuff to the wayside, but I know it's important. Like it's one of those things, we know it's important, but it's a lot easier said than it is actually done. And so for you to just openly give the permission to just like, Ethan, reach out to me, bug me as much as you want, makes it easy for us, because I don't want to feel like I'm overstepping a lot of times. But I know that taking action is the most meaningful, important thing any one of us can do. And this stuff is so important. There's no reason not to start taking action sooner rather than later. So based on our relationship so far, has there been a specific maybe pivot change, whether that's tactically or emotionally or both, that is like you've actually done or changed in the way you manage money, that you're already seeing like this is creating such a big difference and adding so much more valuable impact to like my bottom line?
Yeah, there's several things. From a results standpoint, we've saved a lot of money on my taxes. We adjusted my tax strategy in regards to like my entity and how we're going to manage the money as in regards to taxes. Also, we've implemented a strategy for investing, which through working with you, I was able to really analyze what my goals are with my finances, where before I hadn't really thought of that. Because also I was not, didn't know the full breadth of options when it came to managing my money. So that provided me a lot of clarity. And then in addition, definitely like emotionally took this weight off my shoulder, because I now have you in my corner to help me deal with it. So I feel more at ease when it comes to my finances. And then in terms of process, um, more clarity on where my money's going, because we have these meetings every month. Um, it allows me to make better decisions with my money and with my business. So Those are the main things that I think of actually changed, in terms of my business and myself and my life through working with you.
Yeah, you know how fired up I get when I see progress being made. And I just like our last meeting where it was like we went from always playing more or less catch up, like, okay, let me get my taxes in order. And now we're just ahead of the game. Like books are in order, taxes are ready to go. Like, everything in this kind of stressful season as we're coming up a year of end, business owners are making they should be making those tax planning strategies and putting together like a plan for this year and moving into the following year. Like you're ahead on it, dude. You
Yeah,
can
and
focus on
that's a
like
feeling I've never had. It's always playing catch up, and that's part of what we had to do when we started, right? Was playing catch up, cleaning everything up, and now we have a system that I'm just a lot more at ease. And it's a weird feeling to feel prepared or to even feel ahead when it comes to this side of life. So it's been a huge help for me.
Oh man, that's music to my ears because that's the goal. It's such an important piece of the puzzle, and it's so easy for entrepreneurs and just busy professionals, even if they're not entrepreneurs, to like put this stuff as a priority, create the systems and processes around it to save time, make more money. It's a no-brainer, but it's so much harder to do than it is to say. And I'm so excited that it's actually implemented for you. So, final question for today: if anybody's listening to this and they're on the fence about working with me, and for most people, frankly, it's the price point, right? Most people are like, ooh, I don't know if I'm willing or ready to invest myself at this degree. What would you tell that person who's on the fence, maybe struggling with price or just unsure of if it's going to be a good fit for them or not? What would your advice to them be?
My advice would be, do you want to have to do everything yourself? And is your time better spent elsewhere? Is it worth it? The time you spend doing what Ethan can do, is that the highest leverage item for you to spend your time on to bring in that money, or to just even make it a worry? Is that the highest leverage item? And then also, I would say, what really is the cost of peace of mind, and just I would say convenience, partially convenience, but just peace of mind to know that it's being done right. Because I've done this, attempted to do this myself, and there's always that nagging feeling that was in the back of my mind of, is this the best option? Am I doing it right? Am I, the people that are telling me to do X, Y, or Z, or they just put me through, their strategy because that's their sort of, Ford facility, manufacturing product? Or is this something where I feel I've discussed this, understood my options, and I'm confident knowing that the right decisions are being made? So if you want the peace of mind and you have, you're someone that's busy and has better things to do, then those are two things I would consider, um, you know, to think about.
Dude, spoken like a true entrepreneur, right? Pulling the levers, using leverage to your advantage and delegating out tasks that aren't your center of focus or your zone of genius.
Yep,
Um,
you gotta stay in your lane. That's what I've learned. Once I learned that, and I stopped trying to do everything myself, um, that's when things improved. I think that's when my businesses took off. Is, hey, I can't do it all on my own. It really takes more than just me. Not by way of just time, but expertise.
Yeah, and that's a little bonus there for all you other entrepreneurs who are watching this who, may not necessarily be at the stage where they feel like they can delegate, because there's that ramp up stage and you've gone through it through multiple businesses. It actually took you a few businesses, it sounds like, to get to the point where you're like, okay, I can delegate this work out and regain some of my time and my energy, my focus, and the ROI on that is essentially priceless, especially when you factor in the peace of mind that making sure that your finances and your money is right actually like affords you as a person, and as a business owner it allows you to be the best boss, employer and employee, right? So a little extra bonus tip for anybody else who's watching this that's not necessarily revolving around money, but like hire people and pay people to do the things that you're not good at to free up your time.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes it's being just honest with yourself, removing the ego, having some trust, to let go of these certain things, and I trust you to make the right decisions for me, or help me make the right decisions. So yeah, it's been great working with you so far. And in terms of actual, cost, I wouldn't, for me, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to keep doing this because if anyone has a question about the cost of it, or the investment, I've more than made my money back on this investment. As Ethan knows, I'm in the green on this.
Yeah, and that's your number one, right? And the biggest value that most people get may not necessarily come into your number one. It's come into your 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 after you've set up the machine, after you set up this foundation that is solid and secure. And then it's an investment in yourself that continues to keep on paying, because you'll take the lessons and the understanding from our meetings and our relationship, and you're going to apply them, and you're going to teach your employees like you already have started. You're going to teach your family member, so your kids when you have them. Like, all this stuff is going to get passed on. So uh, man, Dan, I appreciate you. I love what you're doing. I appreciate you taking the time to share your experience with me and others who may be interested in working with me. Uh, Thank you for everything, and I can't wait to be a small part of your super success over the long haul.
Yeah, thanks, Ethan. I appreciate that, and of course, I'd hop on this to do this for you. And I mean, I love working with you, and I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely.